Welcome back to Red Devils TV, and this is your Manchester United versus Newcastle match preview. Now, I've got a Newcastle fan on here, Ethan, and how are you today, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Day before the game, both our teams riddled with injuries, so yeah, bag of nerves. But I'm excited. I'm happy to be here.
It's going to be a good game because obviously, I mean, Eddie Howe was asked in his interview about are you going to repeat the if I can't speak, the Carabao Cup final of last season. Obviously, we beat you 2-0, but this Newcastle side is completely different now. Obviously, you're better in the transition. The players you've increased and the quality. I mean, Jacob Murphy's on absolute fire at the moment, and it's just
Somehow.
exactly like what I'm so surprised at is that I writ off Eddie Howe and I said that he'll be out of his depth in the Champions League, but he's proven me and a lot of other fans wrong. But he's doing really well. How are you feeling with the start to Newcastle season?
I think, to be honest with you, I have to be balanced, don't I? Because I've only started supporting them since 2006, so I've never seen any success. So this is unprecedented times for me. I don't expect us to get out of the Champions League group. I don't expect us to finish in the top four. So I think 17 points out of a possible 30, a win, a draw, a loss in the Champions League. If you'd offered me that at the start of the season, I'd have been like, yeah, I'll take that. Especially with the fixtures we've had as well. And we've got a tough run in for Christmas. I think so far so good. People were panicking at the start. Some people saying Eddie Howe out, which is mental, a genuine madness. But no, I think so far so good. I think, like I said, I don't expect us to get top four. If we can get top 6, top 7, I'd be happy with that. And we're looking like we're on course to do that. So yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, mate. Obviously, like I said, Newcastle, they've kind of pumped a few teams this season as well. Obviously, the 8-0 to Sheffield United, Aston Villa 5-1. You do score goals, a lot of goals, but are you expecting Eddie Howe to rotate in this game, or do you think he'll go strong in a cup competition like this?
I don't think he can. I think our injuries, I know you guys have got a bunch of injuries as well, but I think the injuries are stacking up, especially with Tonali out as well. You're looking at Tonali, Botman, Barnes, Isak, there's a few more I'm missing, and obviously Willock just come back from injury, so he's going to have to rotate. I think you'll see Livramento definitely start. Maybe Trippier on the bench. Might even move Trippier to left back, but then I feel like he'd bring Lewis Hall in. I think it'll be a very rotated squad. You might not even see Callum Wilson because we've got Arsenal Saturday and then Dortmund away a few days later. And you know what Callum Wilson's like? He's made a biscuit, so you can't really you can't afford to play Callum Wilson, our only striker at the minute, constantly, because it's just going to bugger us. It'll bugger us in the Champions League and Premier League. So it'll be a very rotated squad. I think you'll see Gordon through the middle, possibly. I think Almiron will start. You might even see Joe Linton moved out to the left, and maybe you might give Joe Willock a start. They did that a lot last season. Joe Linton played off the left, Joe Willock in the centre mid. So I think it'll be a very rotated squad, yeah.
Yeah. Who was that? What was his name now? The young lad in pre-season for you guys in the summer series. What was his name?
Elliot Anderson.
Elliot Anderson, that was it.
Yeah.
What do you think about his progress and stuff? Has he played much this season?
He's played. I think this was Eddie Howe even said in a press conference recently that he kind of because he's just been injured 2 months. He's out injured, which is gutting, to be honest, because he was playing well. But this was meant to be his breakthrough season, and there was a time when I thought our best midfield was Bruno G in the 6, Longstaff and Anderson. I thought Tonali, obviously before the betting thing came out, he was struggling to get in the team, and I don't think it was quite working with Bruno. But I was tipping Anderson to start above Joe Linton, and Joe Linton's one of my favourite players. That's how well he was playing. He wasn't necessarily getting the goals and the assists, but it was his work rate. He was linking up well with Gordon on the left too.
Yeah.
Obviously, a local lad's that's gonna get brownie points from anyone. So yeah, it's a big loss actually. It's actually a very big loss because he would have started this game, I think.
Yeah, and I think United fans can also relate, obviously, with Kobe Mainoo. Obviously, he's now back from injury, but in pre-season he got injured as well, and obviously in pre-season he was getting a lot of hype from United fans, and he does look like a very promising upcoming talent. But I've got a comment here from Jobs for Football saying that this will be good. Eric Ten Hag needs to drop Rashford and Bruno. Newcastle are a real threat. Now, I would completely agree with you, mate. Obviously, Rashford and Bruno, they're seen as the senior players for Manchester United. And, they've not been playing well. They've not been putting in the performances. I'll ask you, Ethan, what are your thoughts on United so far this season?
I know. Listen, I know this is. I'm not coming on here to banter you. I want to have a
say
good
whatever
chat.
you want. Say whatever you want.
Like, listen, and I know it's an. I know a lot of people say this, but it is true. They did ruin my childhood, so of course, I'm going to enjoy it a little bit. But I think Eric Ten Hag is getting treated a little bit unfairly. I've been seeing stuff like him to go out. Eric Ten Hag out. I don't know about that. Like, I think he's a top quality manager. Yeah, it's been tough. I think a lot of injuries you guys have had as well, haven't you? I think Martinez is out. Mount's had his injuries too as well. So obviously it's not been a great start. I think that goes without saying. I think that Champions League win the other day was massive. That was massive because I think if you had have drew that, you would have been bottom of the group. Is that right? 1 point?
Yeah, it would have. Yeah.
I mean, if you don't get out that group and you're 9th, 10th at Christmas time, it probably are going to look to move the manager on. But for me, I think it's obviously been a bad start. But why is Bruno Fernandes playing out on the right?
You tell me this is what so many United fans are actually asking for, because even in the derby, he drifted into the actual centre as a 10 in like the 70th minute or something. And that's when, like, 3 minutes later, we had that Rashford chance who missed an absolute sitter. Yeah. But I don't understand why Anthony's not playing or Mason Mount isn't playing on the right wing. Bruno is so out of place on the right wing. He's not good enough. He's not physical enough. He's not got the pace. And I just find it dead frustrating when I see Bruno on that wing. But Rashford, he's playing in his strongest position, and what's he offering us at the moment? Absolutely nothing. He scored against Arsenal, but apart from that, he's offered us nothing all season. But
yeah, I was going to ask, like, what's going on there? Because he was, that post World Cup 2-3 month period, unbelievable. Honestly, there was a point where before the Carabao Cup final, there was talk about him being injured, and I thought we could really do with that because he was on form. But it just seems like he's a completely different player. I don't know if this is bollocks or not, but I read somewhere that apparently he's broke up with his girlfriend or something.
I've heard the same, but obviously, you go. I know it's football, and obviously you'll have a lot of criticism and stuff. But you go to, like, your colleagues don't really need to know that. Like, if you go to work and something's happened, your colleagues aren't really going to care, are you? You're there to do a job.
The fans certainly aren't going to care.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, I feel sorry if it is true and Rashford and his girlfriend have broken up. And obviously, that's a massive thing no one wants to go through. But at the end of the day, mate, you're one of our highest paid players. You've got a new contract. You're on 300 grand a week. Like,
he's Mr. Manchester United, isn't he?
Exactly. Like, and what I saw in the derby was the last straw for me, because he was jogging, he was backing out of challenges, he wasn't even jumping for headers. And I just saw Rashford just is a shell of the player he was last season. He got 41 goal contributions last season. That's incredible for a winger. That's the type of numbers that Mo Salah puts up consistently throughout the thing. But you look at it, and was Rashford's season last year a blip in a bad way? Because previous seasons he's been all right, inconsistent. Then he had that great season last season, and then this season gone back to inconsistent. Was that the blip for Marcus Rashford? He just out of nowhere just showed how good he was, but he's just not good enough to keep that consistency. What are your thoughts on that with Rashford?
I'm not sure, because I like him. I really back him. For me, he starts for England. Obviously not now, but like if he's firing or even just in decent form, I say Rashford starts for England. That's how much I rate him. It's a tough one because I don't want to just throw hate on him, but he's not contributing. He's not pulling his weight. By the way, it's only one moment, but that pass, I think it was to McTominay in the derby. He was on the right wing and that was a lovely pass. And he can threaten with his pace, and he's clearly, like, that goal against Arsenal, unbelievable. He's got them moments of quality. It's just consistency. And I think if he was playing, obviously I don't expect him to play them 3 months earlier in the year. I don't expect him to play at that length all the time. But if he even played just half that good consistently, it'd be a completely different conversation, because he's clearly got the talent, but it seems to be like a confidence form thing with him. Yeah. But I rate him really highly, and he's still only he's 26, 25, 26?
26 today. It's his birthday today.
Is it? Okay.
I just think that with Rashford, like, I've got a video that's going to come out in a few days about what's going wrong with Marcus Rashford, and I've just highlighted a few issues, like when he's through on goal. There was a moment in the Arsenal game where he was through one-on-one, didn't pass to Højlund. Højlund's on the other side, on near the right wing, just sprinting alongside him to give him that support. And then Rashford stops, and then the Arsenal defender, I think it was Saliba, catches up to him. And then by the time Rashford looks up to take a shot, he's got 3 Arsenal players defend like around him, and then he's just stuck. And I'm just there like his link-up play needs to work. He's just overthinking everything at the moment.
His
And
decision making in the final third as well.
Exactly, and I just feel like with Rashford, like you said, the talent is there, but like, is it a case of form is temporary, class is permanent, or is it that just Rashford needs to be dropped? Because I feel like Rashford's the type of character where he doesn't need an arm around him. He needs a foot up his ass to be like, come on, mate, you need to start scoring. I don't think that Rashford likes being what's the word?
Mollycoddled.
That's it, yeah. But yeah, obviously, let's go back to Newcastle and with the start to the season and obviously Sandro Tonali and stuff, what are your thoughts on the situation with Sandro Tonali? Because he was doing really well for you in the Champions League. He was kind of struggling to adjust to the Premier League. But what's actually going on with that situation with Sandro?
I mean, so yeah, it came out, I think it was last week, 10-month confirmed. So I don't think he's actually available until end of August next year, which is just dreadful. I love him. I can't wait for him to get back. There's clearly a player in there. There's clearly, I don't want to say world-class prospect because I haven't seen enough of him, but the quality's there for sure. I think he's going to be a mainstay in our midfield for the next half decade and more so, I hope. Really gutted. Not even just because it's a loss to our midfield. You know, it's 55 million, not down the drain, but it's like, oh, Christ, a year out. Like, I'd almost rather he'd done his ACL. Nah, actually, that's not true. That's not true, actually. I'd much rather it was just a betting scandal. I feel bad for him, though. I feel bad for him because it clearly felt like he was like maybe struggling for confidence. Maybe he wasn't adjusting to the language or adjusting to the team. I don't know, because something seemed off. And I think the last thing any player needs, let alone foreign player coming to this country, needs is a 10-month ban, all the scrutiny behind it. But I think people will forget about him. But once he's back, and I think as well, a big thing was he's allowed to train with the team. That's massive. That's
Definitely
massive. That was a big
that's what I wanted to ask you. I wanted to know if he is still allowed to train, or is he actually banned from football at all? But
no, he's allowed to train with the squad. I think he's allowed to travel with the squad. That might not be true. Like, obviously match day, obviously he won't be in the change room, but he can travel and be around the squad. That's going to be a massive help because I think he's only 23, isn't he? He's younger than me.
He is young, yeah.
Mental, yeah. So I think obviously he'll adjust to the language. He'll adjust to Eddie Howe. Players like Trippier put an arm around him, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm feeling really surprisingly optimistic about Tonali, despite the fact he's out till August.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to have a good segment with you here. Let me just find it. Where's it gone? And I wanted to do a combined 11 with you. Obviously, Newcastle in great form at the moment. We can do it with current players available because I feel like that with Martinez and Varane and stuff, like it wouldn't be as fair. Obviously, you've also got Botman out as well. So we'll do players that are available because we both have a bit of injury crisis. So Onana or Nick Pope, who would you go for?
Do you know what? I'd go for Nick Pope, but I will have to concede. Shot stopper, class. Unbelievable. Distribution, decision making, catching. Oh, I don't know. And when he flies out the box as well, he kind of scares me. And Onana's had a tough start, but I'll edge it to Nick Pope.
Yeah, I'm going to back Onana. I mean, obviously, he placed 23rd in the Ballon d'Or last night. Obviously, that's what it was. The season with Inter Milan, he got best goalkeeper or something. I think it was. No, it was Emi Martinez and Bunu that were ahead of him, but he got 23rd in the Ballon d'Or.
Just for context, I didn't watch him for Inter Milan, so if he's been world class and I look like an absolute idiot, I'm basing it off this season because I genuinely haven't watched him.
Yeah, obviously. When we were scouting him, and obviously when United were linked to him, I started watching towards his end of the season with Inter Milan, and obviously I watched the Champions League final like a lot of English fans because obviously Man City versus Inter Milan. Obviously you don't miss the Champions League final, whatever team's playing anyway. No. But Onana is a very confident type player, and obviously you've seen over the last 2 games, if you've watched United, the save for Copenhagen would have made his confidence just skyrocket. Definitely. That save against Erling Haaland for that header, that was
unbelievable.
One of the saves of the season. Yes, because the thing is as well that Onana conceded 3 goals against Man City, but none of them were his fault. It was due to our defence. Penalty is a penalty, and Maguire and Evans weren't marking Haaland for the second goal, and it was just poor marking from Phil Foden.
Yeah, he can't be blamed for that.
Exactly. So Onana, I do think is the better goalkeeper, but Nick Pope is still. I think Nick Pope is our best English goalkeeper. I know.
Really?
I think so. Yeah, I don't rate Ramsdale. I think he's always got a mistake in him. Pickford's
Mm.
got T-Rex arms, and Nick Pope. I just think
What?
that with Nick Pope, I just feel like that if he was between my posts, I feel a lot more confident. But that's just the way that I've seen. I mean, I remember that's probably one of the sole reasons why you were at a disadvantage in the final last year against us when Nick Pope got a red card. I can imagine because obviously you had Carrius, didn't you? And
Yeah.
yeah,
He,
and
he
with
he actually didn't play too bad. He
I know
wasn't.
he didn't play too bad.
I know Rashford's goal, deflection. So I don't think
Yeah,
Harris did too bad, to be fair, but that was horrible.
exactly.
That was,
But that's a question for you. Do you think you would have stood a better chance if you had Nick Pope in your net?
I don't know. I don't think we turned up on the day, to be honest with you. I don't think we threatened much. I don't think we threatened. I know we had that chance with I think it was St. Maximin. I think he'd done Dallo, but I think we're still at 0-0 as well. He'd done Dallo and he had a shot, De Gea saves, but I don't think we turned up, so I don't think it would have affected much, to be honest.
Yeah. And obviously we'll move on to the defence now. Now, no question, Kieran Trippier at right back.
Yeah.
I have what I find very frustrating is that you've got people like Mark Goldbridge, Stretford Paddock. I really respect these bigger United fan channels, but I remember when United were linked to Kieran Trippier for Atletico Madrid before you guys were, and it was around £30 million that were off that the price tag was, and all that big United fans were saying they don't want Trippier and stuff, and I bet they're saying that now because he's shown that even though he's gone to Atletico Madrid, won a league title with them, and come back to the Premier League, he's still world class. And he was at the
He's a
City
different
again.
player, isn't he?
He's a brilliant player, and I want to say because he's never been a rapid type fullback either, like a Kyle Walker. His defensive awareness is spot on, and I would have him over any right back at Manchester United, even with Wan-Bissaka being fit and Dalot being at his best. I think Kieran Trippier is just one of the best right backs in the league. But I wonder who you're going for.
I mean, yeah, Kieran Trippier. I don't even mean that smugly. I think if it's not for Kyle Walker, he's probably the best right back in the league. I know you've got Trent and stuff, but yeah, it's got to be Trippier. Surely, no one's complaining with that.
Definitely. Now, centre backs. Now, I will definitely put in Harry Maguire because I think Harry Maguire's defending and games in recent times have really improved. Obviously, I know that this could be just a good moment of period for Maguire, but with Varane, I don't know if Varane's available or not. He didn't play in the Manchester derby. I don't know what's happening to him with Eric Ten Hag, but hopefully he does play tomorrow against Newcastle because I do think he's our best defender when he is available. But it's just that injury crisis. But what defenders are available? Because I know Botman's out. I know Shah's out.
Is Shaw out? I didn't know that.
Is Shah not out?
I hope not. I mean, I haven't heard anything. Honestly, with the amount of injuries we've got, I wouldn't even be shocked. I think he's fit. I hope he's fit because he's been class this season. Genuinely, he'd definitely be the one player I'm putting up in this combined 11 for sure.
Let me find it quickly. But no, I'm guessing you go for Shaman if he is fit.
I'll go for Shaw. I have to say, I do think Lascelles has done well since he's came in for Botman. He's surprised me. I think he was class against PSG. I think he's kept a couple of clean sheets since he's back in. But I don't mind. Harry Maguire goes in. I don't mind that. Harry Maguire and Shaw, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, no, Shah's not injured. I was thinking of someone else, but yeah, I'm happy with that. Obviously, Lascelles, what do you think of him so far? Obviously, he's kind of stepped up and done all right, but do you not think he is in contention?
I mean, definitely in contention. I think with Harry Maguire, I don't. Obviously, there's a highlight reel out there somewhere where it makes him look absolutely terrible. Like, yeah, of course, but I think I was actually surprised he didn't move to like a West Ham or something. So I think he would have done a really good job there. So there's still a player in there, but his confidence is like literally in the ground. So I don't mind giving you Harry Maguire. He's an England international. So yeah, I don't mind that. But Lascelles, I think he's been decent this season.
Yeah,
so far.
Obviously, left back, you don't really play with a primary left back. You play with Dan Burn, isn't it?
Big Dan Burn.
Yeah, Dan Burn, I mean, again, I don't know what I think of Dan Burn because I remember him at Brighton, and it's just a player that I look at and I'm like, what? Like, how is someone so big and primarily not rapid doing so well? as that role. But it's kind of when you're in transition, you just go to a back three, don't you? And then Kieran Trippier goes more right mid in the transition. But still, when he's defending, like unless like when Darwin Núñez at Liverpool, like unless you get past him or he makes a mistake, he's an absolute wall. And right now, I would go for Dan Burn over Reguilon, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously if it's Luke Shaw, it's a different conversation. But yeah, I don't want to sing Dan Burn's praises too hard. I don't want to come across as a Newcastle fan. He thinks he's an extra Roberto Carlos, because I don't. I think he's been amazing since he's got in. He's clearly playing for the badge. He's operating with what he's got. He hasn't got pace, yet he still gets up and down the wing. He's been popping up with the odd goal. I mean, he's 6'7", so it makes sense. But like, he's done really well. I don't know if he'll be in and amongst the squad sort of next season. I think this might be his last season starting left back every week, but I can't fault Dan Burn. I think he's surprised me. He's really surprised me, actually.
Yeah, definitely. We'll move on to the midfield now. This is going to be hard because I will throw in an Amrabat and I will throw in Bruno Fernandes, and I also will throw in Bruno Guimaraes. Yeah. I feel like that the frustrating thing about Bruno Fernandes is that if we're basing this off form, then you do take him out and you put someone like Joe Linton in. But Bruno can just change a game like that. Like he's that good, and even though he's playing badly, he can still provide good moments. And I'll always have to back Bruno Fernandes, but that'll be my midfield three. But obviously, you might have a different one.
But so you've gone for Casemiro, Amrabat, Bruno Fernandes.
No, Amrabat, because Casemiro's injured. So got Amrabat, Bruno G, and Bruno Fernandes.
Okay. I don't hate that. I mean, personally, I'll go with Bruno G in the 6. You have to have Bruno Fernandes in, no matter what his form. He's unbelievable. And I'll go for... Mate, honestly, I'm not even trying to be biased. I'm not going to make out like he's Gaza. Sean Longstaff has to be in for me. Honestly, mate, if you've seen every Newcastle game this season, I doubt you have, but unreal. Changes that.
You do go for my FPL, so I've got my FPL too. I've got my FPL. Yeah.
Fair play. Fair enough. I never even thought about that. I'd never think to put him on. Yeah, fair enough. He's honestly, mate, he doesn't necessarily pop up with goals, assists, or anything. He's just a workhorse, mate. Honestly, he's exactly what we need. And like I've said in a few videos before, if you were going to play that formation, then you could have obviously Bruno G just sitting. Bruno F can just go and do what he wants. He can go and be creative, give him license to operate and do what he wants, sort of in the final third, and then Longstaff just as defensive cover for Bruno G, and he can just run up and down the pitch. Honestly, mate.
Yeah. He's very class. Good. Like I said, he's a very good workhorse in the team. I mean, I think he is brilliant. But yeah, I just feel like, I mean, Dean A, who's a regular commentator on the channel, nice to see you, Dean, said that 3 Newcastle players in my FPL, 0 United. Same with me, mate. Same with me. I've got 3 Newcastle players, 3 Aston Villa players, 3 Spurs players, and 2 City players.
Wow.
So honestly, it's
nice. Who's your 3 Newcastle players?
I've got Trippier, Burn, and Longstaff.
Burn, nice. Yeah, okay, fair enough. But I did have Bruno Fernandes in, but
no, I've not backed any United players recently. We don't score goals, and we're just terrible at the moment. But yeah, I love all United players, but at the end of the day, our form's been terrible. And FPL's points game, you're not going to have. You have to be unbiased in FPL if you want to beat your mates and stuff, because
definitely
we've got one at work, and I've currently topped it because I captained Son for the 2 weeks in a row, and I got I got nearly 100 points last week, so I've gone from 3rd place to 1st. So
well played.
And that's the thing, I can't back United players because I'm not in good form at the moment. But
yeah, I think I've only got Trippier at the minute. I have had Gordon. I've had Isak, but I've moved them out for injuries, whatever. But yeah, it's hard not to be biased because, to be honest with you, there's probably about 5 Newcastle players I'd put in.
Yeah.
And obviously,
my mate, he sold Haaland last week because of his performance. So he missed the 8 points against Brighton, and then obviously he scored 16 points against United. So he's kicking himself.
I captained him as well. I was good. Do you know what it is? I love how we're talking about FPL now. I was gonna triple captain him. I triple captained him in the 6-3 last year. Nuts. He got his honestly 69 points. It was mental. But I've always just captained Haaland, and it's only been this season I've started going, well, I'll have to move it about a little bit. So if Son's not in your FPL team, I don't know what's going on.
Exactly, because
unbelievable.
Yeah, I just feel like that with Haaland. If you're not captaining him, you either vice captain him in case your captain doesn't play, because you've got to because at some point he'll get a new update for his software and then just start scoring goals again.
He really is nuts though, isn't he? Like I know the whole thing of he's a robot, he's not human, but it's I think someone needs to check, because he's putting the ball in the net every single game, and it's
he's literally the Terminator with R9's feet. That's literally what he is. He's a joke. He's an absolute freak.
He is a freak.
Yeah, I mean, Haaland. I mean, here's a question for me. I'm obviously going completely off topic. We do that a lot on the channel where we just go off topic completely. Was Haaland robbed of the Ballon d'Or last night as well? Obviously, Messi won his 8th Ballon d'Or. What do you think Haaland was robbed?
Listen, Messi for me is the greatest player of all time. I mean, there's not much in it, to be honest. It's Messi, Ronaldo in it, but I'll probably edge it to Messi. World Cup, I get the sentimental value. It was one of them. It's probably that actual final was probably my favorite game I've ever watched. I wasn't at the stadium, but watched. So I'm all for it. I love Messi.
It was
winning league on. I don't know if that's worthy of a Ballon d'Or. I really don't.
Exactly, and I just feel like Haaland was robbed. I mean, he scored. I think it was the stat that he didn't score in one game or something statistically. I think it was 53 games for City. He scored 52, and he scored 4 for Norway. And I'm just there the guy.
What more does he have to do?
Exactly. What does he actually have to do? But obviously, we'll move on. Obviously,
what do you think? Do you think he was robbed?
I think he was robbed. Yeah, I feel like that. It's frustrating because with a World Cup year, obviously it was a lot different as well because it was placed right in the middle of the season. So I think that's what they had to go off. But if the World Cup was in the summer, then you've probably got a different conversation here.
100%.
But I just feel like that with the Ballon d'Or, if the World Cup is a massive if it takes a massive, I'm trying to think what to say, if the World Cup is to impact the decision of the Ballon d'Or so much, then Haaland will never win it because
it's a good point. It's a good point actually.
And I find it frustrating because Haaland was without a doubt probably the greatest striker last season, scoring goals for fun. He tortured pretty much every team he get faced, and I feel like that now. People say that, Haaland's not been performing good this season, but he's still top scorer of the Premier League. This is
is it 11 goals already?
Something like that. It's ridiculous, mate. I don't know.
Not even November.
Do you know what I mean? It's people say that Howe's not playing good, but he's still top goal scorer, with over 10 goals already, and
he's a freak.
Yeah, honestly, mate. But we'll move on to the attack because I forgot about the combined 11. But
yeah. So what we got? You're going with Amrabat.
I'm going Amrabat, Bruno G, and Bruno Fernandes. You went with
Longstaff, Bruno.
Longstaff,
yeah.
But attack now, again, basing it off form, I am going to put Rasmus Højlund in. I do really like Callum Wilson, but like you said, he built like a biscuit. I mean, I have a similar analogy for Martial. I say he's built like a poppadom. So nice. You know what I mean? It's these strikers just made out of glass or sand, whatever you want to say.
It's a shame though, isn't it? It really is.
It is a shame. And I will have to say, 2 Newcastle wingers for me. I am going to put Almiron and I'm going to put Jacob Murphy. That's my
one. Gordon.
I forgot about Gordon.
He's not injured. I was going to say Gordon is because I didn't know how you were going to react because I was going to say, listen, I'm going to go Gordon over Rashford.
Yeah, obviously, I thought Gordon was injured, so I'll take out Almiron for Gordon and I'll keep Jacob Murphy.
Okay.
That'll be mine.
Listen, you're not going to like my answer, but I'm going to give props to Rasmus. Don't worry. So I would personally go for Gordon, Wilson, because obviously Isak's injured. I'll go Gordon, Wilson, Almiron. I think the right wing is a shoe-in because obviously the situation you guys have got going on. Gordon, for me, I'd say he's been our best player this year, this season. I'd say definitely up there, definitely top 3 minimum. But yeah, he's been unbelievable. And I think the only reason I'd edge it to Wilson is because Premier League proven for the last nearly a decade now, is it? Yeah, like second highest Newcastle Premier League goal scorer, scores goals for fun, 60 minutes per goal, I think is his ratio at the minute. But I do have to say that Højlund kid looks like the some player. He just looks.
Yeah.
Is he 20?
20, yeah.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, he's going to be like, because a lot of people were saying like Man United have just bought like Haaland off Wish or whatever, but like no, I don't know. He looks like some play. He's strong. He's got a bit about him. He's good in link up play. He's quick. He's strong. Yeah, I think he's going to be at Man United for the next 5-10 years. He'll be a mainstay.
I bloody hope so, because we spent a lot of money on him, like 70 million for Rasmus. I mean, again, this is the going back to Manchester United with the poor like negotiations and stuff. We could have bought him for 40 million from Atalanta at the start of the season, and then what happened?
But that's not the Man United way, is it?
Exactly. We dragged it out, but you're like, oh, we're going to come back later and stuff. And then they wanted pretty much double for him. And it happened with Anthony last season. We offered, I think it was 45 million for Anthony. Ajax wanted 50. And at the end of the transfer window, we paid nearly 100 million euros for him. It was a joke. So
the money you guys could.
I honestly don't know why we never learn.
It's again, like, it is funny to watch Man United fail, only because because of the childhood thing. I don't care. I've been to Man United's ground a few times. It's huge, by the way. It's mental. Yeah. So yeah, I like Old Trafford. I think Fergie's got a place in Premier League history. Obviously, he's iconic. Like, Man United as an entity, if I take away the sort of the bias thing, yeah, it's an amazing club, but so badly run. It's unbelievable. Definitely. It's unbelievable. And just quickly, I was going to ask you, I presume your Glazer's out, presumably.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, cool. So you got your head screwed on then.
Because the thing is that, like, I get a lot of criticism on Twitter because I turned around and said that I didn't want Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and a lot of people would be like, oh, he's a billionaire, he's one of the richest Englishmen and all that stuff. And I just turned around, well, hang on a minute. It's not I don't want Sir Jim Ratcliffe, it's the fact that the Sir Jim Ratcliffe deal is that he wants to buy 25% of Manchester United. And I understand, like, he's still keeping the Glazers in power. So it's not like I don't want Sir Jim Ratcliffe. It's the fact that his deal is still keeping the Glazers in power. So that's why I always wanted Qatar over Sir Jim Ratcliffe. But it looks like Sir Jim Ratcliffe is going to be the new owner of Man United, over 25%, and be our sporting director or whatever the role is that he wants. But, I hope that this is a start to getting the Glazers out. But I have a feeling that Glazers will never leave. I think that until we die, they'll be right. They'll just leech on for dear life. Even if you sell all the shares and keep 1%, they'll still be involved at some point. I think it's just like that toxic ex that just always likes on your Instagram posts and stuff like that, and just never leaves you alone.
I think what's scary about them is they actually. I don't mean to be nasty, but they look like leeches. Like, they're absolutely rancid as well. Like, they're just a real negative entity.
You'd think with all that money they kind of sort out their hair out or something, because they look like just.
You know what I mean?
Like the zombie apocalypse films. That's what they look like. They're just not good in the gene pool.
Nah, they look like pond life. But yeah, I'll go with going back to it, I'll go Gordon, Wilson. I'd probably got Almiron, to be honest, not Murphy. But like I say, that Højlund kid, he looks nuts.
Yeah, and obviously I respect it. Obviously with Callum Wilson, I just find the injuries are just way too consistent with him. Obviously, he's a brilliant striker. I mean, obviously, you've said that. Obviously, his goal tally, he's averaging a goal every 60 minutes. It's brilliant, but it's the fact that consistency is probably more valuable than actual form. Like, if you've got a 9 out of 10 player who can only play 10 games a season for you,
it's no good, is it?
Exactly, you've got 7 out of 10 who can play pretty much 40 to 50 games. You know who you're going for, because you want that consistency. And that's why I'm struggling supporting Varane at the moment, because Varane is, without a doubt, our best defender, but he's injured after every other game. So when I want to try and build my best 11 for United at the moment, I try and not include these injury-prone players, because they just, for example, Martial, he's kicking up a fuss at the moment that he's not playing over Højlund. But then you'll play 3 games.
Got some cheek saying that, hasn't he?
Exactly. You'll play 3 games in a row. You'll do well, because that's what he's saying. Going, I do well when I play. It's just my injuries. But then he'll get injured. So I'm like, you need a consistent team. You can't just be like, right, Rasmus, Martial's going to play the next 3 games. But if he gets injured, then that spot's yours. That shouldn't how it be. So if Martial is that good, he should be taking these opportunities when he's coming off the bench. But I've got a comment here from Munzer saying that if United sort out football above Ten Hag, do you think he will be fine? I do think he'll be fine. I don't think Erik Ten Hag is going to go anywhere anytime soon. I think that he's got full backing from the current owners. Sergeant Ratcliffe's already said that he backs Erik ten Hag. It's just down to the impatient fans who are dead reactionary and saying that Erik ten Hag's the worst thing to happen to us. But I'm just there like, hang on a minute. Last season, he got us third. He got us a cup, our first cup in 5 years, and he got us to another final. Like, you can't argue with what he did last season. Yes, the transition from last season to this season, United haven't improved. You've got Villa, you've got Brighton, you've got Newcastle, you've got Liverpool. All these teams have now improved and United have been left behind. And I just find it dead frustrating because United haven't improved from last season. But, you know, I do think Erik ten Hag is the right manager. But what are your thoughts, Ethan?
Definitely, mate. Definitely. I think, you know, obviously I'm not as connected to the club as you guys. You guys are going to be a lot more emotional about it and stuff, and rightly so. So I understand why some people would be reactionary. But I just think that the proof's in the pudding. Like, since Fergie's left, if you keep chopping and changing managers, where does it get you? It literally doesn't get you anywhere. And I think Erik ten Hag is probably the best manager you've had. I don't know. That's a bit of a wild statement, actually, because I think
I agree with it, mate. I agree with it.
Really?
If Erik ten Hag wins tomorrow, he'll be the fastest manager to win. I think it's 50 games or something. No, history or something like that.
Wow.
Whatever the stat is. So,
I actually thought Louis van Gaal wasn't bad, but is that just nostalgia? I can't
No,
remember that.
Louis van Gaal wasn't the best. I mean, he played all right football. It was just boring football, and the fans just didn't like it. I mean, my stepdad, he used to have a season ticket for United, and he went to Van Gaal, and he said that the day he threw away his season ticket was that we had a corner, and then he literally looks at his phone. 2 seconds later, it's back to the keeper, and he's just there like.
I love the fact he just gave up his season ticket for that.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
I'm just there like, obviously I wasn't in his life at that point, but I'm just there like, you know, you could have kept that for me, but
100%. I would never just give it away, but yeah, I mean, like Erik ten Hag's probably top. Obviously Mourinho, but it was past his best. Yeah, I'd say Ten Hag. I felt like I was kind of a wild claim saying it, but it probably is the best manager you've had. And yeah, of course, the season's gone tits up. Like, I think everyone can accept that injuries play a part. I did think Mount was going to be a good player for you guys. I thought that was actually a good signing.
Yeah,
obviously
I do think that Mount's going to play tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised that.
He'll probably score, mate. He'll probably score the winner.
I hope he does, because I think he's one of the players who needs that goal now in him. And he's just like we've had the McTominay who scored. Obviously, he's now stuck in the starting 11, which I'm fuming about. I like McTominay, but I just think he's an impact player. I think that he impacts games and coming off the bench. And you see what he did against Brentford. And I feel like that's where we get the best out of McTominay when he's going forward. He's not good defensively. I say he can't track his own shadow. He does my absolute head in when defensively. But at the end of the day, McTominay is a decent player. Was linked to you guys in the summer. I don't know, would you take someone like McTominay at your team, or would you think that the quality is just getting better and better now?
Listen, not even. I don't even mean this arrogantly. I really don't. But I just think I would just take Longstaff over him. I don't think he's better than Joe Linton. I don't think he's better than Tonali. I don't think he's better than Bruno. Elliot Anderson's a young kid. I'd rather see him sort of see what he can grow into. So no, if it's essentially a Longstaff or McTominay, for me, it's not even a question. But I don't hate McTominay. I don't hate him. No.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't take him. No.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's my thought. I feel like that. I mean, he's been here since he was a kid. I do like McTominay, but like I said, I think that when you see him for the last few games being consistently played, I just find it dead frustrating. But my predicted 11 for Newcastle, obviously I'll do United, you do Newcastle, but I think it'll be Onana in net. I'm going to go for Dalot, Varane, Maguire, and Reguilon as the defence. I think it will be. I'm going to go Amrabat, Mount, and Hannibal Mabry. I'll go Palestri on the right, Martial through the middle, and Garnacho on the left. That's what I think. Erik ten Hag is going to rotate a lot. He's going to keep out a lot of the big stars. The big stars will probably be on the bench, but I just feel like that we need to see rotation. That'll be my predicted 11, but what's yours, pal?
I will just say quickly, that's not an awful starting 11. It's not awful. Like, I think, Garnacho he's an unbelievable player. Haven't seen much of Hannibal, but yeah, apart from that, I think a lot of them. I mean, obviously you'd want Luke Shaw and Martinez to play, but that's not too dissimilar to your normal starting 11. So that's stronger than I thought you were going to go for or predict. Yeah. So I think for us, I'd have thought he'd stick with Pope, maybe Dubravka, but I don't know why he would do that. I mean, there's games coming up, but I'll stick with Pope. I think you'll go Livramento,
Lascelles, Dummett, maybe Matty Target, maybe Lewis Hall, maybe Matty Target. I think I'll stick with. I mean, we signed Lewis Hall for 30 million. He kicked the ball twice, I think. So I want him to start. So I'll go Lewis Hall. This is where it gets tricky.
Yeah.
I don't because we haven't got a number 6 apart from Bruno. Maybe he's. He can't start Bruno. Surely not. I'll go Longstaff in the 6. This is tough, man. I wasn't prepared for this. I'll go Longstaff in the 6. Joe Willock. And he had, to be fair, if Matty Target starts left back, he could play Lewis Hall in midfield, which I wouldn't be against. So let's go with Longstaff, Willock, Lewis Hall. I'm going to go Joe Linton on the left, Gordon through the middle, and Afdi Almiron on the right.
Again, like it's you've struggled picking that starting 11, but I still think that's a very strong 11 for Newcastle.
I back it. I definitely back it.
I feel like that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a between of your strong 11 and you're also mixing, like playing some players like rotation players, because like you said, Newcastle have got a big week coming up. United have a big week coming up, and I know we're against Fulham this weekend, but again, with our current form, I can't say I'm actually confident for a game for once. So I have to go game by game and go off our last performances. But I'm hoping that someone like Garnacho, someone like Mount has a world-class performance, even if we win or lose. And then Eric Ten Hag is looking and be like, right, you're in for the next game because Bruno and Rashford or McTominay or whoever he wants to drop actually gets dropped, because these favourites at the moment are costing Eric Ten Hag games. But I just think that it's going to be a good game for both of us. And what are your score predictions?
I'm very, very pessimistic. So let's just put that in for context. Listen, I think if we had a full squad, and I know it's easy to say that if you had a full squad as well, but I think if we just had a fully fit Isak or a fully fit Botman, I'm not even saying they'd start because maybe they wouldn't because of rotation. I'd be so much more confident. I'm gonna go 1-1. I think maybe we might even take the lead. I don't know. I don't want to get too specific. When people give score predictions, they go, I reckon Haaland's gonna score 2. Bernardo's, it's like, what? Where have you got that from? I'll go 1-1. I back us to score, but I do back us to concede. I'll go for a score draw, and then after penalties, who knows?
I mean, I'd probably go the same. I'd think in something like 1-1, 2-2. It'll be a challenging game because, again, it's like I feel like a lot of the older fans still see Newcastle as this, relegation side, and you're just there, like, you can't underestimate them anymore. They're a complete different Newcastle side. Might have still some of the similar players that when they were in the relegation, like your Longstaff, your Lascelles and all that stuff, but I just think that Newcastle are a very threatening team. Look what they're doing in Europe, and obviously I know that's with a stronger 11, but Eddie Howe's a manager now that I now have to respect, and I can't underestimate him anymore because he has proven that the projects he's building is doing well. Now, last question for you just before we end it, that do you see Eddie Howe lifting Newcastle a major trophy, or do you think that he'll get to a point where the club have to sack him and get a more world-class manager?
I think he will. I really do as well. And it's crazy for me to say that because even my dad's not even seen Newcastle win anything. So I'm not basing that off past history, but I do. I really do. I think the only thing I worry about, mate, is toxicity within the fans. And there's been murmurs of it. I don't think there's been too much. It's not like there's one side of the fence and pick it. That's the only thing that scares me is toxicity around the club, because I think we're sitting on an absolute goldmine here.
Yeah.
I don't think, I'm not saying we couldn't go out and get someone better in world football. Of course, there's better managers out there, Pep, Klopp, there's Ancelotti, the goats, so to speak, but obviously they wouldn't come here. So I'm not saying he's the best manager in the world, but I think he's the best manager for us right now. I don't think, obviously there's De Zerbi and stuff, but I think right now what he's building, the foundations he's laying, the personnel he's bringing in with his links through Trippier and stuff like that. I really do think he'll win something. I really do as well.
Let's hope that happens for you, because obviously I feel like Newcastle are one of them teams that do deserve it. I mean, like you said, you've gone through, is it over 50 years since you've won something or something like that?
I think it's like 57, 58, something like that.
but they've gone through a long period of time, and they're again one of the biggest teams in the Premier League. Now, obviously, with all this financial power and stuff, they're only going to get better. So even if you just don't win anything this season, I can guarantee within the next 3 seasons you will win a major trophy at some point, because it's bound to happen. You're richer than Man City, and what I actually respect is because what I was worried about when Saudi first took over you guys was that you were just going to start splashing the cash straight away, but you're actually building something. You're actually building a really good team, and you add in players that you'd think that, oh, what are we signing them for? But then Eddie Howe makes him a good player. And, you know, when you signed Harvey Barnes, I was like, that's a brilliant signing. Like Harvey Barnes is very underrated at Leicester, I think. He'll have his moments, and yeah. I think Newcastle are going to be a threat, and I'm just looking forward to the game tomorrow. Are you going to the game tomorrow, or are you
mate, I wish. I was there. I went to the Dortmund game the other day. It's hard to get tickets. I live away from Newcastle, sort of thing. So I'm not going to the game. The only games I've got so far was Dortmund last week, and I'm going to Bournemouth in a few weeks. But no, mate, I wish I was going.
No
are you going?
Mate,
you're a season ticket holder, aren't you?
No. I just buy the tickets when I can. I'm trying to buy a season ticket, but at the moment I'm just on the waiting list.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. It's hard to buy tickets for United at the moment, but a lot of people scam as well, which is the frustrating thing. But
it's not ideal, is it?
So I remember I texted someone on Facebook because they were like, "Oh, I'm selling the Manchester United derby tickets." I was like, "Oh, what stand?" And he was like, "The Sir Alex Ferguson stand." And I texted him saying, "In the East stand, yeah." And obviously, Sir Alex is the West stand. And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Yeah, you're a scam, mate." I saw it right through it, and I was like,
"Well played, mate." I'll be honest.
He was asking 150 quid for the ticket as well. Like it's not like where it's like 20 quid and you lose 20 quid. You know, it's a lot of money. So
yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to go to the game tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to it. But, you know, mate, thank you for tuning in, obviously.
No worries,
Ethan's link for TikTok is in the description down below. There's amazing content on Newcastle, so please check him out if you do have TikTok. But I appreciate everyone who's tuned in today, and I will